Time now for us to delve into the newspapers once again. Here with me reviewing them this morning are the journalist and broadcaster Bidisha Mamata and the Chief Executive of International Marketing Partners, Alison Stewart-Allen, who's here with me in the studio. So welcome back to both of you. Alison, we're actually kicking off with you this hour, and we're going into we've dealt with lots of the front pages, haven't we? So we're going inside. And this is an article that you've picked out from the Financial Times, focusing on this luxury group, LVMH.
Yes, indeed. So they purchased Tiffany, the very famous American diamonds and jewelry brand, a few years ago, spent millions on recently refurbishing their New York City Fifth Avenue store. And one of the interesting things about Tiffany is that unlike its other luxury rivals, whether they are within the portfolio of 75 luxury brands of its owner LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, or its competition, this is sort of seen by the company as having huge potential to ramp up, raise their prices, improve their ranges, and make design more at the heart of the business. They're spending a significant amount on marketing and branding, 10% of the total budget. Typically, luxury brands don't spend that level. It's 5 to 7%. So why this is a story is because this luxury company, LVMH, really wants to turn up the dial and the heat on making Tiffany work. The interesting thing about this from my perspective is America doesn't really have many of its own luxury brands that are homegrown. Luxury does brilliantly in the US, but they're from everywhere else. They're from here, they're from France, Italy, etc. So this is a homegrown American luxury brand that has huge potential, and they are betting on this investment, you know, really making Tiffany an even more global brand than it is right now.
That's so interesting, isn't it, as well, how there are always going to be some people who are very rich, even in a cost of living crisis. There are going to be people who want to spend money on very expensive stuff.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Total contrast to your story, Bidisha. You're turning our attention to a double-page spread in The Eye and the situation in Sudan. And I think it's a continuation from their front page about the Wagner Group, they say, who are operating in Sudan.
Yeah, this is completely extraordinary, because if you didn't know that it was a news headline, you'd think that this is the treatment for some sort of Hollywood disaster movie. The mercenary army group, the Wagner Group, who came to prominence in public understanding when Russia first invaded Ukraine and used mercenaries from this group, culling them out of prisons. So you've got convicted rapists and murderers who are fighting in this mercenary army, have now been involved in the fighting in Sudan. And this has broken out only in the last few days. It's been on all of the news headlines because it concerns a breakdown in civil life and government as rival military factions, even involving the Sudanese army, plus numerous other groups, are fighting it out. There's been a mass evacuation of all the people who could get out of their multiple nationalities. There's been a bit of controversy about the UK's relatively slow response to this. And even so, the deadline to get out, if you're a British passport holder, is today. It's a few hours from now. And Port of Sudan is where people are fleeing to, because from there you can get a boat to Saudi Arabia to then move on or seek asylum or to get away from the fighting. But this article is completely fascinating in a very dark and frightening way, because it shows that this mysterious Wagner Group have been involved in fighting with automatic weaponry, heavy-duty military weaponry in conflicts across the globe. And we didn't know this, of course, because they only got famous, and I hate to use that phrase because I feel like I'm giving them exactly what they want, when Russia invaded Ukraine.
Well, yes, exactly. So an awful lot of concern about what's going on in Sudan already, but this adds an extra layer, doesn't it? Some of these more details that are coming out. In the meantime, though, Alison, take us to the Daily Express and the big build-up to the coronation, of course. We get this sort of daily drip feed of more information, don't we? So what's the Express focusing on?
Well, they're focusing on these new pictures of the King and Queen Consort looking relaxed and approachable. And, releasing pictures like this is part of the branding process of the monarchy and of the UK, because, of course, all eyes around the globe will be on London and this country on the 6th of May.
A lot of interest. I mean,
Incredible.
You say lots of your American friends are fascinated by it?
Absolutely. But and my friends on the continent and all over the world, this is a global brand, the British monarchy. So these pictures are extremely deliberate to communicate what does this brand feel like, look like, as an attempt to engage the world. And it's a fantastic draw for tourism, for spending, as we've been talking about, and it's very deliberate. This is no accident.
And how do you think they should go about maximising that draw? I mean, you say they look very approachable. Do you think that's part of it, or do you think it's better to be a little bit, removed and different? Is that sort of sense of being special somehow? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, the times have changed. I mean, in the late Queen Elizabeth's era, that formality and distance was absolutely expected, not just with the subjects in the UK, but globally. And now we're in a completely different world. We expect celebrities of all types, whether they are influencers on social media or whether they're royal family members. We need to be able to relate now to those that we want to put our trust in. Hence, this more informal looking approach absolutely is the way to engage these days. If you want to build a brand, it isn't that formality.
Yeah, fascinating. And post-coronation, fascinating to see how they decide to build on that or not. And Vidisha, just take us to a story about baby formula milk for us. Oh, I don't know what paper it's in. It's the Eye. It's the Eye. Yes, and it's the headline is "Make Baby Formula Free for Parents." We've only got about 30 seconds, though, unfortunately. Very briefly.
I was checking my homework notes for you. Yes, this is an extraordinary interview with Professor Michael Marmot from UCL, who's pointing out that if you start off in life, you're a new parent, and you can't even afford baby formula, which can go up to £18 a box, and you need, for one child, you need one box per week. You are setting up for a lifetime of lowered health expectancy, lower competency, lower equality and opportunities in life. And he's saying that for the very, very hardest hit parents, there should be a prescription so that they can get baby formula to feed their babies for free.
Interesting stuff, and that's in the Eye if people want to read more about that. But we're out of time again for this hour, but we'll be back again next hour. Thank you.
Thank you.